ran from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up?
Hello, and thank you again for tuning in to my story, my strength 365-day challenge. We are again in day 2 of this challenge. I'm not sorry, not day 2, month 2 of this challenge. And it's just something that I put together to show the world that healing is not easy, but it's possible. On my first month, I kind of went over all the details of why I did this. From now on, I'm just gonna just dive in, okay? So this episode was for the trigger warning, because I always start with my trigger warning. This episode contains graphic and emotional intense descriptions of domestic violence, physical abuse during pregnancy, financial abuse, emotional manipulation, and endangerment of a pregnant person and her children. Please listen with care and prioritize your mental health and emotional well-being. If you're in a vulnerable state or actively being healing from a similar trauma, consider having support nearby or skip this episode entirely until you feel safe, or if you ever feel safe, because your safety and healing, it matters the most. Okay, so just if you have to miss this episode, please, I have plenty other ones, the other episodes that you may be able to tune in that's not as triggering, but your healing always comes first. Okay. So this was a time when I was pregnant, and when a woman's pregnant, she's supposed to feel loved and protected. She's supposed to feel that support around her. Like she's bringing life into the world with care, but she needs that care to also surround her. But that's not what pregnancy was like for me. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't joyful. It was terrifying, lonely, very lonely, and violent. When I was pregnant with my oldest son, everything felt like it was crashing down. My ex, he took everything from me, my peace, my money, my home, everything. And then when I got pregnant again, I said, I'm not going to let him do this to me again. I will not let him disrupt my peace as much as I could. I fought harder, but he still found ways to drain me. He found ways to take from me until I had nothing left but fear and survival instincts. He stole from us constantly. I was on government assistance at this time because he wouldn't let me finish high school. I had no work experience, so I received cash aid and food stamps. He would steal my food stamps. He would steal my cash, anything that I tried to hide, even money that I set aside to buy for the crib for our unborn son. He found it. He stole it. I started stashing money around the house, even outside, so I could just feed my baby, because I still had a 1-year-old, almost 2-year-old, and he always seemed to find it, or he'd fight me until I just gave it to him. I'm pregnant, I was exhausted, and I was just desperate. So sometimes if I only had $10, I'll give him 5, just here, take it, just so that I could get him out of my face. Because yes, he would take pennies, it didn't matter. So during this time, I was about 6 months pregnant with my younger son. I have 2 boys, and my daughter is my youngest. So I was pregnant with my second son. And he wanted money to pay off some debt. Probably someone who was just as violent as he was, but was really going to whip his ass. But I don't care. I didn't care. I was done. I told him no. I was tired of him watching him risk our safety for his shit. And he didn't like it. I said no. He was already pissed off at me because I put him out. I'm like, I can't have you staying here anymore. You're always fighting me. I didn't feel safe. I got him out of the house. So when I told him no, that I wouldn't give him money, because at this time, I think, we were married by this time. He kicked my door in. He kicked my door in. I never forgot the sound of the door frame just kind of snapping, or the look in his face when he walked in the door. And he just stormed in. He started punching me in my face. And then he threw me on the couch, and all I heard was him yelling, give me some money, like, give me some money. And my son was standing there, and I just yelled for my son, like, go to your room. I wanted to protect him from this nightmare, but how do you protect a child from something that you can barely survive from yourself? So I told him no again, and I'm trying to fight back. I'm kicking at him, I'm swinging at him, but I'm huge, okay? I'm 6 months pregnant, and I'm big. I wasn't small. Like my second son, he had me swollen everywhere. And trying not to lose the child growing inside me while also fighting back, it was not easy. He's throwing lamps at me. He ripped the phone out of the wall so I couldn't call for help. And I felt like I was trapped in a cage by this man. He was a fucking monster. Like, he did not care he didn't even care about his own unborn child. But thank God I lived downstairs, and a girl that I grew up with, I went to school with, and I knew her mom, her younger siblings. Um, they lived in the apartment above me, and she heard him fighting me because again, my doors kicked in wide open. It was about 5 or 6 in the evening, so it wasn't too dark. And she comes in the door, and she rushed down, and she gets him off me. She's pushing him. She's pushing him like what the, because she knows him as well. Um, he violated her when she was a little girl, so she knew. Um, and she pushed him off of me. She starts pushing him and fighting him, telling him, you're wrong. Why are you fighting this girl? She's pregnant. It's your wife. It's your child. You know, um, she had to physically fight him, and told him that he was sick. You're sick for beating on this pregnant woman. And he finally left, but the damage was done. And I didn't give him any money either. But the damage was done. My front door was broken in, so was my sense of safety. I had to fix the door myself. Thank you for me having a stepfather who was a carpenter and showed me little tricks to kind of fix things in a snaps with very little material. So I had to put the door back together. I had to put my home back together because he completely destroyed my house. He broke my furniture. I had a glass table. He threw a brush through to shatter the table. Like I had to do everything I could to put those pieces of my life, of myself back together after that and every other attack. But that day kind of lit a fire in me because it made me realize that I was the only one protecting my child or my children. I would never let him be raised thinking that kind of violence was normal. That day I started emotionally leaving. It was happening before that, but when it's like he was kicking me in my stomach, like stomping me, like I was nothing. So even my body hadn't caught up to what my heart was telling me. It's time to go. And if I would have understood more back then, I probably would have gone. Because with me living there, just putting him out wasn't enough because he kept coming back, and that wasn't the last time. So let's go to the identifying of my wounds. That day branded me with the belief that my safety, my life, my everything, my body was negotiable. I felt like I was just this entity, not even really a person. I was carrying life, but I was being treated like I was disposable. I started to believe that no matter how pregnant I was, how vulnerable I was, I still wasn't worthy of protection. The people who were supposed to love me kept choosing power, control, and violence instead of care. Worse, I felt like I was failing as a mother before I even gave birth to my son, and for the son that I already had. I thought if I can't protect myself, how can I protect them? And that became the heaviest wound, feeling like love wasn't enough to keep my baby safe because the world around us only respected domination and silence. So my reflection question to you: what belief about your worth did you absorb in a moment where you should have been safe, but instead were forced to survive? So what belief about your worth did you take onto yourself in a moment that you should have been safe, whether you were sick, pregnant, something, but instead you were forced to survive. You were not treated well. You were forced to deal with a situation that shouldn't have been a situation in the first place. So my negative mindset in that situation is I must not matter to people. I must not matter if he or anyone could hurt me like this. If they can attack me even while I'm pregnant and still see no consequences, I must not be worth anything. But I had to reframe that. That belief was built on someone else's sickness, not my reflection. I had to reframe that thought to protect myself. So I had to understand that even while pregnant, what he did was an act of violence. And instead of seeing that violence as evidence of me being disposable, I had to use that as undeniable proof of my value because he saw something in me. He was fighting me because of what was valuable within me, whether it was my money, my body, my life, whoever I am. I had to acknowledge that my instinct to protect myself, to say no and to stand my ground was an act of self-worth. So I gave myself value while he tried to take from me. I protected my child even when I was being destroyed. That's not a weakness. That's the blueprint for strength. So an affirmation that I have for that moment was, I am not what he tried to break. I am the one who rose anyway. My love was powerful even when my body was under attack. I was never disposable. I was divine in survival. So let's go to our mini session. This is a grounding tool called Protective Posture Reset. This tool taps into the body's awareness and self empowerment, especially useful for those who've been physically attacked and need to reclaim control of their physical space and their nervous system. So, first, you got to find, in any of these, you're going to have to find a safe, quiet space. Okay. And this one, you stand with your feet shoulder width apart, close your eyes, and visualize a wall forming around your body that nobody can enter, a wall. Now press your palms together, press your palms together in front of your chest, tight and firm, and hold it for 10 seconds. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing that the wrong way. Press them together in front of your wrist and hold them tight and firm for 10 seconds. I can't hold them, I have an injury on my wrist, but hold it as tight as you can without hurting yourself for 10 seconds. This activates the body's midline and gives a physical sense of control. So you push it together for 10 seconds and then drop your hands slowly. Take one deep breath in through the nose and say aloud, I hold the power to decide who gets access to my peace. Do this 3 times. And it's not about meditation. It's about reclaiming presence in the body. And that's the part in the body of the parts of the body that has been violated. My brain is not working. My brain never works, you guys. I bounce all over the place. While I'm doing this, my brain is in 8 other places trying to think of ways that I can do more work for this community. You have no idea what is in my brain. So please, please, please don't mind me. But again, do this 3 times. And understand that it's not about meditation. It's about reclaiming presence in a body that's had its boundaries violated. Use this whenever you feel like your body isn't yours. This is your home. Your body is your home. So now we're to our 1-minute empowerment challenge. Yay. Name a moment when you fought back aloud. That's what we're doing, okay? So speak aloud a sentence about a time you said no, fought back, blocked a hit, made someone leave, or simply refused to let the pain be the last word. No writing, no mirror, just declare it. So examples, I told him to leave and never come back. I stood between him and my child. I said no, even though I was scared. Those are kind of examples of things that you can say out loud. Say it like you own it. Say it like you made it alive, made it out alive because you did. Because you did. And now, favorite part is the survivor spotlight. Today, I want to spotlight a woman named Angela White. She's formerly known as Angela Antoine. I can't say that name. Antoine. She's Angela White. And she endured decades of personal upheaval. She endured decades of personal battles before she found healing. Raised in a household burdened by trauma and poverty, she began her adult life in and out of prison, spending over 20 years behind bars across multiple convictions, not at the same time, tied to survival and addiction. When she entered the prison system, she was also dealing with the aftermath of a violent stabbing from an abuser or her partner, a moment that nearly ended her life and certainly changed it forever. Inside the Virginia Correctional Facility, four women, Angela confronted the dual realities of physical and emotional trauma. Her incarceration during her incarceration, she made a conscious choice that this time would be different. She committed to building a life of purpose. She participated in programs focused on grief and recovery. She focused on healthy relationships, and she also focused on emotional literacy. She began mentoring other incarcerated mothers who were trying to keep their families safe and together while behind bars. Upon her release in 2013, Angela returned stronger, more determined to rewrite not just her story, but the narrative for all formerly incarcerated women. With an associate degree in accounting already, she founded House of Dreams Reentry Services, providing mental health support vocational training, parenting resources, and reintegration assistance for women returning from prison. Her landmark support work made real differences for reconciling the fractured relationships of incarcerated women that were often shattered, and she basically reunited them with their children and then with their families as well. In 2022, Angela earned the Prison Reform Advocate of the Year award for her grassroots leadership. In 2024, just last year, she married and changed her name to Angela White. Currently, she is working towards a bachelor's degree in pre-law, preparing for law school, while taking her lived experience straight into the halls of justice and policy. She serves on boards and councils, breaking down stigma about formerly incarcerated women, demanding second chances for all. Angela survived extreme violence, isolation, and the brutality of incarceration. She emerged not just to reclaim her life, but to rebuild communities dismantled by trauma and neglect. She turned her life into the darkest chapter. She turned the darkest chapter of her life into a full mission to ensure sisters leaving prison don't fall through the cracks. She didn't just walk out, she walked back in, bringing hope, resources, and experience to those still behind bars. She proves that the systems meant to punish can also be repurposed for transformation when survivors lead. Angela's story doesn't end with survival. It becomes structural change, sisterhood, and sustained justice. So today we honor you, Mrs. Angela White, and we thank you for showing the world that redemption isn't a privilege, it's a right. Thank you for using your pain as a bridge to others, for continuing education behind bars and beyond, for fighting for women discarded by society. You didn't just return, you redefined what freedom looks like. And we see you, we learn from you, and we honor you. And I am so sorry for butchering your maiden name. So, if you heard this story and something cracked open, know that you're not alone. You are not broken. You are healing. You are fighting. You are powerful. Leave a comment if this hits home. Share if you know someone who needs to hear it. And if today was hard, rest. But don't you dare give up. And please subscribe to my channel, Empowered Voices, Finding Strength in Survivors, so that you can stay up on all of the new content that we have. Again, I have 2 other shows, one airing the last Saturday of every month with Mr. All Love, called Real and Raw. And another comes on every Sunday with my beautiful, beautiful sister, Coach Kiss, and the Kiss Corner. She comes every Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For now, we will let you know at least 2 weeks in advance when that time frame is going to change. And her show basically tackles the life of a survivor and how she manages. She uses her real life story in real time and helps you understand, while also helping you heal and grow. So you don't want to miss out on that. And always remember, your story doesn't end in pain. It begins in power. See you tomorrow for another powerful story of healing. I love you all, and enjoy your weekend.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get